This just into CBS Sports HQ. We are all tied up now between the Guardians and the Tigers in the wild card round of the MLB playoffs over in the American League. That was the first homer that got things started for the Guardians, but really when they piled it on was there in the bottom of the eighth, 2-man on, Bo Naylor. That one is gone for the 3-run homer. So much insurance there when they headed into the top of the ninth, and that would be the final score, 6-1 for the Guardians going up against the Tigers. The Tigers won yesterday 2-1. There is the box score. So this now goes to a deciding game 3 tomorrow to see who moves on to the ALDS. Let's welcome in our MLB expert, Jim Bowden here. Jim, I'm going to call you Baseball Nostradamus. That's how you say it. Because you called this. You said this is exactly what you thought was going to happen. Maybe the Tigers would get game 1, and then the Guardians were going to get game 2, potentially game 3 as well. Your reaction to what we just saw play out?
Yeah, the blueprint, I think, was there, Amanda, going into this series, right? The Tigers win the first game because they have Skubal and Vest that can pitch those games, but in a game where you're going to battle the bullpens, the Guardians' bullpen is deeper, it's stronger, and we saw that in this game today. Tanner Bybee went 4 2/3 innings, solid start, gave up 1 run, that was fine, but when Stephen Vogt went to the bullpen and started bringing in Sobrowski and Gaddis and Tim Herron and Jacob Junis and then finishing Cade Smith getting the final 4 outs, that was the difference. 4 1/3 shutout innings. And look, the Tigers had lots of chances this whole game. They had men on base, over 12 men left on base. But this bullpen of the Guardians knows how to execute pitches with men on base in the big moments with 2 strikes. And that's what they did again today, and that really stood out.
When you talked about all the chances that the Tigers had, I mean, yes, look, they did have 2 outs, but still they had 3 on there in the top of the ninth and weren't able to capitalize on that. What is giving you so much in confidence in the Guardians moving forward? Are you still going with them to go ahead and win this series?
Yeah, I am, Amanda, and mainly because, look, we watched them. They were 15.5 games out in July, right? And they were 11 games out on September 4th, and they beat these Tigers. And they've been dominating them, and that's what it's looked like. And they're at home. And then tomorrow we'll see. I mean, Slade Ciccone will take the mound. Remember, that's the pitcher they traded Josh Naylor for. Naylor was a big part of them winning last year. He'll go against the veteran Jack Flaherty, who quite frankly hasn't pitched well down the stretch. And so, look, I like where the Guardians are right now. Brian Rocchio's homer in the bottom of the 8th to break that 1-1 tie was incredible. In fact, that's the 9th game in a row, postseason game, where he's gotten at least 1 hit, and that breaks the Cleveland Guardians record for the franchise, which is pretty amazing. But I like the position they're in right now. I thought Stephen Vogt outmanaged A.J. Hinch, which isn't easy to do, but he did that today, and I think there were a couple questionable moves by A.J. Hinch, including taking Riley Green out of the game and pinch hitting Jahad Jones for him in that 7th inning.
Taking us to the game tomorrow, I mean, you kind of gave us a little bit of preview there. By the way, start time a little bit after 1 Eastern, same as it was today, same as it was yesterday. Leaning toward the Guardians, if the Tigers were to win and move forward, what would kind of be the key for them that they need to do in order to get that win?
I think it would come down to the Guardians' bullpen being tired after pitching 2 games in a row and carrying most of the innings. I think that's going to be the big thing. You looked at Cade Smith. He did struggle in the 9th inning, as you pointed out, with the bases loaded there. He didn't look great yesterday either. What's he going to look like if he has to come in tomorrow to pitch that 3rd game in a row? And I think if the Tigers are going to win, they're going to win because they can wear out the Guardians' bullpen. I think that's their pathway. Although, as I've said before, I thought the Guardians would win this series. I thought they were the better team when Skubal wasn't pitching. Skubal won't be pitching tomorrow, so I got the Guardians advancing tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a sigh of relief for them. Jim Bowden, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for hopping on as soon as the game is done to give us your insight into that one. Guardians go-ahead home run in the 8th inning or later. We got it today with Brian Rocchio versus the Detroit Tigers. Game 3 tomorrow, a little bit after 1 Eastern.